Thank you all for coming. On behalf of my community, the Tse Yaz Bunk'ut, I'd like to welcome you. And I hope you have a feeling of a release today. And there's Mark now. So I just want to say that, this place has also provided a lot of memories and friends from different communities, all the way from Fort Ware, Takla, Lasden, Nak'azli. So we all were here as children, and
Good morning. Our people always kept the spirit strong. You have to keep your spirit strong for you to survive. These kids got up 5 in the morning, feed the cows, feed the animals, and yet they starve every day. I like everybody to think about the spirit today. It keeps us together. It connects us to everything, the trees, the grass, the water, the air, the fish, animals. That's what the spirit does. Together, we can all heal together. Just remember, there's a spirit in you that you have to keep strong. Thank you all for coming. I welcome every one of you.
So for many people, it is a sad time. I'm a survivor. My mother went to residential school. I wasn't raised by my mother. I was raised by my grandmother. And I really do believe that it was because of the effects of the residential schools. So this place where we're gathering today is, it's a sacred place because there is children who are buried here that never went home. A lot of children died in Lejac. There's a lot of stories that we haven't even heard of from some of the survivors that tell us stories today about their peers dying in the school. And then, of course, we know that there's unmarked graves. So this is a sacred place that we're at today. But I also want to acknowledge the non-Native people that are here today too, because part of it is you're acknowledging what had happened to our people by being here. And I think about the Pope's visit about a month or two ago, and I've heard some stories from some of the survivors, and that just to hear the apology from the Pope was all they needed to have that peace and to move on from the hurts that they were experiencing in their lives. And to other people, they're still on that journey. And for myself, I chose that day to forgive. I've heard some elders talk about that's all they needed to hear from the Pope was that I'm sorry. And so I leave that with you, and I just want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Nadleh Whut'en, for inviting us here today. Thank you.
My grandfather is a man of very little words. He understood the hurt that went on there, and he didn't speak of it very much and everything. And my family, my aunties, my mother, every time something like this comes up, I am proud to stand up here and honor them. Knowing the hurt that they went through, I could feel it. And I grew up here in Razor Lake, but I'm back home now. Part of leadership for my own band. It's always an honor to come back home, honor the ones that went through the hurt and everything, and still standing here strong. Thank you all for listening.
Lejac Residential School. It wasn't a bright topic of my parents or elders in Yakuche. I do believe strongly in the every child matters movement. Every child does matter. In my community, I like to challenge my members by asking them to what degree and when does a child stop matter. Residential school system, it was one of the mandates to remove the Indian from the child. For those who went in there and came out, their child still survived and they live strong here today. They're playing in the field. They're listening to us. Thank you.
Lejac here, and she experienced some abuses, but to a certain degree she was protected by those prints. We have pilgrimages here every year. There's also abuses in day schools, which we experience, which I experienced, and it's coming out, and it should be made public that those day schools are just as bad as the residential schools. There was just as much abuse. I'd like to quote a couple of things. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can learn and be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. That was quoted by Nelson Mandela. And there's another one here I'd like to share. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyways. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. That was by Mother Teresa. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a good day. And thank you again for welcoming us into your territory. Hey, hey.
I'm here on behalf of Claytley Tanay. Our Chief Logan is sick today. And I want to say that I'm honored to be here today with all of you, the support here, and the stories that people will tell they need to be told and listened to. It's what's going to keep our kids on the right path and keep us going. Again, I'm honored to be here and a part of this healing journey. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge the unceded territories of the Nadleh Whut'en, and I appreciate them inviting us to gather here to pay our respects to all of our survivors of residential schools and to pay our respects to the generations of children who are buried at residential school sites across this country. I want to say Masai to you for welcoming us and inviting us. And I also want to acknowledge our Wet'suwet'en people that are here from my community. My aunt, Rita George Galahgan, she will be speaking today as one of the survivors of Lejac Residential School. Herb Charlie, Irene Stevens, Vivian Tom, and I'm likely forgetting some names, but I just want to acknowledge them from our community and also acknowledge each of you who are survivors here today of residential schools. And I also want to acknowledge our Creator who placed us here and designed us with a purpose as Indigenous people. And I was born and raised in my Wet'suwet'en ancestral territories, now known as Burns Lake, British Columbia. I am a mother and I am a grandmother. And I'm grateful to be asked to speak on the topic of truth and reconciliation for our people. And I realize that we acknowledge our past and all the things that we have endured. I also want to acknowledge that we are rich in our culture, our history, our languages, and our way of life, despite the colonial efforts that were set out to destroy us. I have not been taught my language. I do not speak my language fluently. It is my daughter, Danielle Wall, who is teaching me, and she did not go to residential school. And I'm grateful that I can introduce myself in Wet'suwet'en and that I can move forward to speak my language. And I want to encourage our people to move forward towards decolonization of ourselves, our families, our communities, and the policies that we subject ourselves to every day. We have had our lands and resources taken from us. We have been put on Indian reserves under the Indian Act. It's the only act in Canada under the federal government that discriminates against one body of people, and that is our Indigenous people. We are the only people in Canada that are being discriminated against under policies and laws that were not created by us. All of the policies that we operate under are not from, they don't originate from our Batlads Hall. And under colonialism, we were taught to be hard on each other. We were taught lateral violence. We were taught about us and them. And when we look at our people on the downtown east side of Vancouver, our people on the streets in many cities and villages and towns, and we look at the trauma that we have to heal from, the intergenerational trauma, I would like to encourage us as our people to transform that into intergenerational healing. And I think that despite all that we have gone through, that these things will not become our legacy. The Indian Act cannot be our legacy. And the change that we so desire is going to take a long time, but we're already there. We're already changing. And I believe that the transformation of our people is going to be very powerful. It is already very powerful. You look at all of the truth and reconciliation gatherings across this country. And when we speak about decolonization, what does it mean? And how do we do this? And I encourage us to celebrate who we are. And with every flaw that we have endured in our past, every wrongdoing that we have endured, we need to look at it as an opportunity for us to heal and to transform. There's many opportunities for us to grow and to change and to evolve and to develop into our fullest potential. And I just thank you all for being here. This is a very important day for our Indigenous people. And I pray that that transformation and that healing will continue, and that every year that things are going to get better and better for our people, no matter what. And I appreciate the last speaker who sang that song, and to those who are keeping our songs alive, keeping our language alive. And I just say Masai to you, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me today.
My name is Marlena Mann. I'm the Executive Director of Communications and Technology at Carrier-Harrison County Family Services. And I'm here today on behalf of Chief Karina Leween, who sends her regrets that she wasn't able to be here. She actually planned to be here up until last night, and she wasn't feeling well, so she asked me to say a few words on her behalf. When she thinks about reconciliation and what it means to her, she said it brings up really thinking about shared wisdom and a focus on resiliency, which are paramount to the success of truth and reconciliation. She said, "This day is dedicated to reconciling what has happened in the past, and today we are healing. But we look to move past healing so that future generations can truly thrive." And thinking about the vision of Carrier-Sekani Family Services, where we really hope to lift people up to be able to live their highest potential. And when I think personally about reconciliation, I can't help but think to the No Gana training through Carrier-Sekani Family Services, which is training that we provide to non-Indigenous professionals who come to work with various community members from the member nations. And I think of Sarah Hine, who was a residential school survivor. She was number 99. And I sat through so many trainings where Sarah shared her story, and sometimes she would share her story and just walk right through it, and I was in awe of her strength. And sometimes she would share her story and she would cry, and again, I was in awe of her strength. I just feel so absolutely humbled and appreciative that I was able to learn so much from Sarah. And I would encourage anyone who has a story to share to please share it. And for those of us that haven't gone to residential school, to really listen. I think that's where healing comes. And with that, again, as a part of Carrier-Sekani Family Services, if there are people here who have heaviness in their hearts and want to talk to someone, we do have our mental health team over underneath the tent with the brown roof over there. They're also wearing red smocks, and they have our Carrier-Sekani logo. And yeah, so feel free to reach out to them. They'll be wandering around. And thank you to Chief Martin for welcoming us. And I'm very, very humbled and honored to be here. Thank you, everyone.
We are one big community. Mike brought my kids today. I think about your children. I think about somebody taking my children. That's not right. Nobody can fix that. That's not something that's going to be fixed in a day. It's an honor to be here to speak on behalf of the Village of Fraser Lake. It's not always been the way it's been done, but we are definitely working towards a lot of different things. And I'll get to that in a second. So thank you to the Nadleh Whut'en community, Chief and Council, all of the people that put this event on, and to recognize all of the different chiefs, the elders, the hereditary chiefs, the survivors, is an important thing that I'd like to do. Can all the elders please just wave your hands? I'd like to see how many elders we have in this room. Yeah, not really a room, but it's fine. You know, each of you has a lot of history and a lot of knowledge, and sharing that is very important. So not only are we here to remember and honor the beautiful lost souls today, but we're here to walk with you on your healing journey. There's a lot of words you could say, and I wrote this down because I really didn't want to mess this up. I would just say words. They mean so much, and they also mean so little. They can hurt, they can cause pain. Once out, they cannot be taken back, but they don't always mean as much without action. You hear someone speak, what do you remember? You remember how they made you feel, if they were genuine, if they were kind. What you feel matters. How someone makes you feel makes a difference. I hope one day, when we were all long gone, we make a difference to someone. We made that difference to someone in the actions we take now. And I know we all are making a difference. And we hear you. As a leader, you cannot forget your actions matter. They are watched. They can be judged for sure, but they matter. Good leaders can inspire, and they can bring about great change. And that is what I hope each of you and the youth here today can remember to be leaders. because we are all leaders, each one of us. Show kindness, show understanding, and help each other in this thing called life. Each of us has a role to play in teaching, guiding, learning, understanding, and forgiveness. Every single person is at a different place in their healing journey, and we need to remember that. It's not up to anyone here to tell you how or when you should get there. And it will take all of us to contribute. It takes time and energy to heal, and it will take the communities and the people of this entire land to join together and work together if anything is to profoundly change. We need to come together more often and work together, build trust, mean what we say, and teach the next generations the right way. Our actions each day shape the future of all humankind. Our communities are like gardens, and each of us are responsible for planting seeds and not just watching them grow, but respecting and nurturing them every day to soon realize we have a garden that is full of love and life that will sustain us all. And while we could do it alone, doing it together is less work and way more fulfilling. I have so much hope we can find the equality. Letting the wind do its job. That is needed, and perseverance to fix what someone broke. And we know that was wrong. Let us continue to help our friends and neighbors heal. Let's do more than just speak words. Let's act. Thank you again to everyone that organized this today. Thank you.
There was a long line of girls, long line of boys, all wanted to go to confessions. And the best one I heard was this poor child was only about 8, 9 years old. And he came up to me. I asked him, "What did you confess?" He said, "I had to think of sins that I had committed." "Which one? What did you commit?" I told a priest I committed adultery. And the priest gave me 10 Hail Marys to an act of contrition. He said, "Now you're absolved." Adultery? What is adultery? We didn't know. Later found out in life. And one of the reasons why I'm wearing this sweater, about 2 weeks ago, I had the same, all of the PG Cougars hockey team in attendance here. I had 35 hockey team members. And I was telling them about the stories of how we coped with going to this residential school. And I had to, after about 40 minutes, I had a break. So I told hockey players I had some pictures of the school, of the Lejac band and all. And of course, there were some pictures, hockey pictures. And the first thing they looked at, and there was about 4 of them behind me. I looked at them, I looked at the picture, I asked them, "What's the difference between that picture and present day?" They didn't know. "Okay, look closer." They looked closer. I said, "The only protection we had was just shin guards. That's all we had." Nowadays you're all covered in protection equipment. You didn't have no helmets, no face mask, nothing. And we used to play in 35 below zero. Because I remember we went to play in Burns Lake. And boy, was it cold. Ooh, a regular winter. And as the game progressed, second period, we were losing, 11-2. And we, in between periods, we took a 20-minute rest. And Brother Callanan, we went into the building, took a rest, and he looked at us, and he started swearing. It's the first time I heard a brother swear. No, he had 4-letter words coming out of his mouth. I'm not going to repeat them. I'll be committing a sin. Anyway, we sat down and he started calling us dirty effing Indians, all that. You guys are good for nothing. And further, it made it worse. And he said, on the third period, I want you guys to go out there and beat that team. What? We're losing 11-2. I said, so? I want you to go out there and beat that team. Or else. 2 words that scared the bejesus out of us. Or else. And we listened to them. But as we were filing out, going to the rink, the whole team looked at one another, and we were wondering, what the heck happened? We're losing 11-2, and this is the third period. And we're looking at each other and shaking our heads, and finally it dawned on us. We looked at one another, shrugged our shoulders. Okay, now we're gonna. And the words that came out was probably not that kind of words, but I said to the team, we're having eye problems. Eye problems? I don't need glasses. I said, no, not the eye problems. But we're not playing as a team. And we looked at each other, okay, we play as a team. No eye problems. Nope. We went out there, but what was resonating in our head, or else, that spurred us on. And we played as a team, third period, 11-2, and we just said, we're going to beat this team. By the end of the third period, we were winning 14-11. We won the game. And to me, it wasn't winning the game. We just avoided something that's still in my head, or else. But we won the game anyway. And it's 35 below zero. And I've heard most of the speakers come forward here, always reminding all the survivors, I as a survivor, said I turned into an alcoholic. Prior to 2008, that was 5 years, I drank day after day, week after week. And like Roy Nooski said, he said that, he said, Clifford, you know what? What? He said, we got both of you. We have not one, two PhDs. What the hell is PhD? And he said, we got it down Vancouver, East Hastings. I said, yeah? So the first one, PhD, poor, hungry, and drunk. And I let that go, and sure enough, we were poor, hungry, and drunk. But then I was down there in 1985. I was down there for about 7 months. And I was drinking Monday to Friday. What was really odd about that was we took a weekend off, Saturday and Sunday, not drinking, because we were too poor then. poor and sober and hungover. And I met a lot of people, most of them drinking friends. It didn't last very long down in Vancouver. Alcoholism took their life. They drank too much. Alcohol poisoning. Most of my friends down in Vancouver are all 6 feet under. So I decided in October to go back to Prince George. Because I was sick and tired of Vancouver. I might come home in a box, pine box. So I came home, started drinking, and then December 28th, 1984. I always remember that day, simply because I quit drinking. Tired of sleeping outside, stealing, lying, all that crap. And I said 2 words to myself. I quit. Quit overnight. And I keep reminding people, especially on 3rd Avenue, why don't you quit drinking? And I really realized why. Most of the people on 3rd Avenue don't have a purpose in life. They're just living day to day. That's the same with the survivor. He or she wants to make life better for themselves. Forgive yourself, reconcile with yourself, and find a purpose of why you are here. To get your mind off that alcoholism, drugs. I did. And in 2008, I went back to school. Pretty hard to believe. A survivor, well-hardened survivor, actually went back to school. And that's what changed my life. Totally changed my life. We were enrolled at the Vancouver Community College Instructor's Diploma program. Hello. And that was a 7-month course. And to make it sound better, there was 7 residential school survivors in the class of 2008. And all of us, we graduated. We went through that course like nothing. Simply because we had 4 or 5 senior instructors who taught us how to think for ourselves, open our mind, open our bodies, and use that gray matter between your ears. And after December, we finished. In January, February, I got a letter from Vancouver Community College. And they wanted me to attend a graduation. But I was thinking, I'm not graduating until I have that diploma in my hand. So June 10th, we went down. June 11th, went to Community College, got my diploma. And what's ironic about that, June 10th was my birthday. So I gave myself a belated birthday present. I gave myself the ability to see myself in a new world. I often told Norm Dooley, instructor, I said, Clifford, what are you thinking about? I said, I'm thinking about how I open a door in the 4 walls. As a survivor, I was just bouncing around. That door is always open. So what you have to do is go to the door, open it, and find out that you're missing most important thing. You're missing life. life as I had never seen it before. So I was back into his life. And after 2009, I started teaching about this residential school. And one thing about teaching, this very, very topic, nobody likes to talk about the residential school. But I have done this ever since then. And you know what? I thoroughly enjoy teaching people like you, students, CNC, University of Northern BC. I enjoy doing this because I'm passing on the knowledge that I have learned while at Lejac, so that the people like you, others, survivors, to learn about what happened in a residential school. And I enjoy doing this. But then again, we're all teachers. We're all teachers. All of us are all teachers. We're all teachers. We're all teaching about life, how to, for example, 10-year-old kid who teaches little brother how to tie shoelaces, and young older ones, they're learning and teaching at the same time. Same with you, all you people around here. We're all teaching and learning. But that's life. Oh, I was talking to Roy, and he said that we were talking about how we ended up in a provincial jail. I remember when I was 17 years old, and I broke into a store, drunk out of my mind. Sunday morning, woke up, 2 RCMP officers looking at me, "You're under arrest." Like, Monday morning, I went to court. Judge Stewart, he was hungover too, to tell you the truth, and he's a magistrate. And he told me that, "Mr. Kwa, how do you plead?" "Guilty." "Okay." He looked at me, bang, 1 year in provincial jail. I told him, but, Your Honor, but. Never mind your but. 1 year in jail. And I told Roy that both of us equate the residential school and the provincial jail. Provincial jail has bars. The guards, you open the door, there you go. Lock the door behind us. But there's a lot of things that we didn't expect. These jail guards treated us as persons, as human beings. Unlike Lejac, where they treated you, they treated you like animals, two-legged animals, to be used and abused. And I told Roy, "You know what, Roy? I equate Lejac with provincial jail. They have bars. Lejac has mental bars. And you and I, Roy, are the only ones that can see the bars that are stopping us." And one of the reasons why we were here is to honor all those unmarked graves, all the children that never came home, all the survivors that passed, and all the survivors that are here. There's quite a few of them. But it's very seldom you see survivors gathered, like here. Always remembering the good times. but there's very few of them. And what is truth and reconciliation? To find oneself the truth about how the Indian residential schools almost eradicated First Nations people through child abductions, forced to forget our traditions, languages, and our way of life. I was in school for 11 years, and most of the time the girls and boys were indoctrinated. We did not have formal education. I only went to grade 7. That is the truth to find out the truth about how these residential schools, how they almost brought us down. But now we're bouncing back up. To face the truth, they will stand up and say, I am a survivor. I survived that residential school. To me, I face the truth about myself. How can I overcome this? And I did. It took me a while. All the trauma that was done to me and to the other students, boys and girls in this school. As for reconciling, I forgave myself first. That's the first step. Forgive yourself for putting yourself through all this misery. But all the problem is, you built that healing road. Now you're going to have to walk that road. And the first step is forgiving and reconciling to others who had done their best to kill the Indian in me and break my inside and break my spirit inside of me. Because I see a lot of people downtown, their spirit is broken. Some survivors the same way, their spirit is broken. And the churches and governments fail to do this. Now, to make my life better, I respected myself for who I am, what I am, as an Indian, as a survivor, as an instructor. And later on, after I had done this, I began to respect all peoples. From this little guy to the oldest person here. You all deserve respect for what you have done and what you will be doing. Always respect. And respect nowadays is very hard to find. Can't buy it, but respect. Always respect one another. And respect all people. That is part of reconciliation. To make better for others and walk hand in hand with each other. To make better. To understand one another. And treat others like persons. And most of all, to love one another as human beings. Now I want to thank you for all your patience and understanding about this, what I have done, short history of the residential schools. And I want to thank you. Masi.
welcome to our new family. Now you have to buy us all new cars. Simgigit. Sigitum Hanak. It's so nice to be here. I've been here many times. But more important is my historical roots to this area is I'm originally on my father's side from the area north of Nitai Bun. My grandfather was Sebastian. I was told by the Tache holy people that he was a mailman. He only spoke his language and probably 6 others, and he was stationed in Port Ed, working for all the people. He was a newspaper man. He was the newspaper. He told us of Europe, of the populations over there. He told us of them starving and how they discovered the potato and the corn, which they got from the North American Indians and the South American Indians. That saved Ireland. That saved many of their people. He told us of the building of New York, and he told us about airplanes and all kinds of things that we had heard earlier from one of our prophets that's buried at Hagelgate. His name was Beni. He was a prophet. I'm going to talk to you about a little bit more about that when I put my orange shirt on. Because what you're wearing is very significant. It's very important. People are turning over in their graves today, but they're happy. They're turning over in their graves because they're happy. They know that the children will not be forgotten. Those murdered, those raped, those that were hurt, our parents who couldn't do nothing because they were sent to Ocala prison. They didn't pick a prison that was nice and television sets in every room and bed and blankets. They put them in Ocala where there was murderers, cutthroats, and thieves, where their lives were in jeopardy every day. That's what they put our people in for speaking their language and talking about native land claims. We are very, very lucky. I want to talk to you today about us being a chosen race. So I will do that when I don the orange colors along with you today. In the meantime, this is my beautiful family. They're all my family members. I guess some of you guys didn't know I had kids. Sorry, girls. I was told this was a family event, so I gotta keep it rather clean. But you know my character. And now that I put my character away and dawned on the character of Jesus Christ and his Father and the Holy Spirit, I know what has to be done for our people, and I'm going to tell you about it. In the meantime, my family wants to entertain you. In our language, we have what we call the feast. In our language, this is the only place you can insult the chief, a particular feast, and tease them. But we're going to do that to some of you today. But the first dance is the chief's competitive, which the boys are going to do. Get ready, boys. This is a Slavey language and a sharing language dance that went right from Alaska to Port Angeles and the port that's down south of Seattle. That's how far this song has reached. And it's a trade song. So when we met with this song, we met with different things that we brought with us, but we competed with one another with this song. It's called The Chief's Competitive. Years ago, today is going to be a bit of a confession because I have family members here. These words have to be spoken. They have to be spoken. I have all the Ketlos are my first cousins. Granny Ketlo told us we're related to the Ericksons. She gave a list in the newspaper of all the people that we're related to. We salute you today. This particular song is a salute to the ladies here. Those who made soup at the native potlatches. Our society is a matrilineal society. I visited one in the Himalayas in China in 2011. And they're a strong society. You do not want to fight with the women. This song is the spoon song. I wrote it myself on the basis that we must get back to singing our own songs. At home there was arguments over singing somebody's song. So I said, well, that's not going to stop me. And I started writing my own. That's what we have to do. All of us. If you feel a song in your heart, let it out. Teach the kids it. Learn new songs. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear come near you. It's our kids. You look in our kids' eyes. Look in your grandkids' eyes. And tell them we own this land. I brought that wording to Prince George in 1969. I helped build the Indian Center there with the help of many people. That Indian Center has a huge budget today and employs a lot of people. I can brag on that. So now, the song I wrote, I'll quit my bragging. The Lady Spoon Song. Believe it or not, I'm having a tough time with my voice today. You wouldn't have said that if you seen me at a Cougar game or an all-native hockey tournament or an all-native ball tournament. I wouldn't lose my voice during there. Our next song is one that speaks to our land. The chief was hunting and he shot a grouse. And he's lucky that grouse lived because he didn't ask permission to go on the other chief's territory. So the grouse lived, and this is our tribute to that man who made that mistake. And that's what we used to do in the old days. When we achieved great things, and we did great things, we had a great hunt, we had good things happen to us every day. We sang about it. We made songs and dance about it. Let's bring that back to our people. The escape of the grouse. Now you get to listen to me for a little while. Can everybody hear in the back? We're going to don our orange shirts now. We have to be with you. But while I'm doing that, I got to pour my heart out to you, especially to my first cousins. That doesn't weaken my message to anybody else. We have to know who we are. And we have forgotten who we are. But if you carefully look at the hour that we live in, I have been studying the Bible since 2015. 2 years ago, cancer visited my family, and it knocked us out. It just about took the major member of our family, and we had it. But thank God I picked up the Bible in 2015. But I got tired of looking at our people, watching our people day by day die. Watching our people day by day drinking themselves to death. Watching our people take fentanyl. They're dying 3 a day, 2 a day up around Hazelton and Terrace today because of fentanyl. But my message isn't one of discouragement, of abandon, of leaving us with broken hearts. My message today to you is one that is clearly in Scripture. It's in the Bible. It's the last day. These are the last days. And the reason they're called the last day is because darkness is going to leave us. Darkness is going to leave our people. We are going to lead in North America in a movement of human beings the world over. I say that because of North America, because we were the very first people on this land. But I'm of mixed blood. But I say it to all human beings. The Bible clearly states that we are light. You are a spirit man first. And because we wear this chains of flesh since Adam and Eve, that's in the Bible. I turn to John, the book of John, and it clearly states in there that you are a light to the world, every last one of you. And when you're sick, and when you're hungover, and when you need help with glorious, hardworking projects, when you're fighting addictions, just say to yourself, come out from inside, because Jesus is inside you. There's a little church inside of you. We knew traditionally, as Native people, if you go to our ancient language speaks forward. English speaks backward. That's a proven fact. All linguists will tell you. And when we speak forward, we realize long ago that we had spirits, that there was a spirit inside of us. That's why years ago we had the story where the medicine man who was a bad man would take your spirit and put it into a little vial or a little glass and put a cover on there, and he'll steal your spirit. Everybody knows that story. If not, or if you do remember it, tell it to your kids. It's a testament to our ancient people. Our ancient people. In Gitxsan, we have two languages of Gitxsan. There's the modern Gitxsan and the ancient Gitxsan. And it's like that with the Wet'suwet'en. Aden means people, T-E-N. Aden. How were we related to the Navajo? How did the ancient Navajo speak our language? Or we spoke their languages? Because we traveled there in spirit. In our spirit, there's a gift of God. That's in the Bible. We have gifts where we can speak to the weather and change the weather. We can heal ourselves. All this is available because of the education system. We've lost those things. But you watch, in these days, God is coming down and He's going to sit in your heart and He's going to wake you up. You're going to be able, when you're sick, you're going to be able to say, I release the light. I release the glory. And if you want to say it in any stronger way, you say it in our language. And that sickness will leave you. You have very strong church here. Many of you still are Catholics. I, in some way, abandoned that because of my reading, but I still pick it up to go to sacraments yet. I still go to receive the communion yet. I got nothing against the Catholics. We say there's 25 billion Catholics in the world. We're wrong. Yes, we say it as Native people. The residential school was the biggest failure, and the government and the churches are trying to get away with it. But that's God's work. And one of my best friends from Prince George College says we have to forgive. That is clearly in the statement before you ask for any gifts from God. You must forgive. So forgive them. And if they want to be Catholics, if you want to be a Catholic, Jesus has said, each one of you have to make up your minds. Sit down, what's wrong? Sit down. That's one of my rambunctious dancers. Each one of us must learn to use these gifts that we have since our ancient people. Since there was no roads and we walked and we loaded our dogs with our gear. We have to bring that back. But remember, you're not alone. And these gifts are available to us now. Repeat it. I am light. Say it in your orange shirt. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Now, we are who we are belong to be. That's who we are as human beings, not only as natives, non-natives. All of us are one people on this earth. We're going to do a round dance now. That's enough of my talks. I want to say I love all of you. We're so glad that we came today. As you can clearly see, I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to still give her. Hopefully my daughter will stand in with me. We're going to start the bear dance. I picked out 2 people out there to help us. This is an ancient dance, and it speaks to the supernatural beings. That's what we were as Native people. We were supernatural, and you are supernatural. This is a testament to it. The bear's going to go out amongst you. I picked 2 of you to meet that bear. If I were you, I'd be a little scared, but we're walking with some protectors also. Here's the Nook, the grizzly bear. Over here, Art. Over here. Hey! Come on! Okay, back this way. Give him a hand. The first hand doing that. That's an ancient song. Now we got a big flirt. This big flirt, she loves dancing with your men, girls, with your men. When she dances near you, she offers you a handkerchief. You have to dance with her. She's coming out. And when she offers you a handkerchief, you gotta stand up and dance with her. And if you don't, you gotta buy her a new house, a new car, new teeth, new clothes, and you got to marry her whether you like it or not. So you gotta dance with her when she offers you the handkerchief. Now, the organizers have asked you to identify that man and give him something special to do. Give him a hand! Give him a hand! This is our last dance. Song of the day. We hope we brought you some eternal love from the Father, the great chief in the sky. I've asked him to use my tongue today to bring you words that some of our leaders are scared to say. Our leaders are too busy in this world building a life. What did Jesus tell us wealth was? Jesus said wealth was human beings. Every human being on this earth will have a good life. Have a good life. We are the Giksano Clans dancers. Nadleh Whut'en! Everybody hold your spot! Hold your spot! Look at all our new cousins who joined us. You all get new cars today. You all get new wives. You all get new husbands. You all get new teeth. You all get $1 million. Thank you, everybody. We are the Getshan All Clans dancers, and we love you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Chanasya, the Hoyan Katnashia. Jatilats of Enho, young cats at us. Young cats down there on that tree. It was a Hanna Kasha. The debate Tilats El Enho. We've all suffered enough. The policies of the colonial government, the laws on indigenous peoples in this country that put those children in unmarked burials, those laws are still here. We continue to struggle on a daily basis, trying to reestablish our identities, our culture and heritage, our languages, our values and beliefs. I am a sun dancer. I've been doing it for 23 years now. After residential school, I was in a really bad place. I am a survivor, yes. I was hurt 6 times at the Williams Lake St. Joseph mission. And I'm very fortunate to be standing here. I'm one of the lucky ones that made it home. Every day I pray for the people, the children that never made it home, their parents, their communities, their nations. My healing process is going to be a lifelong process. It's going to take me, it's a lifelong process. I have grandchildren now, 7 grandchildren, which I now take really good care of. And I'll make sure they're always under my wings, that they will never experience what I have experienced. Healing, the way I approached it, is to decolonize myself. And when I decolonized myself, I didn't challenge the narratives of the government. I went back to my language. I went back to my lands. I went back to my values and beliefs. I went back to my culture and heritage, where they stripped me from. Those policies and laws are still doing that today within MCFD, the judicial system. We are overrepresented in the judicial system and the child welfare system. It's still happening. Those laws and policies on indigenous peoples are still here. They never went away. Their narratives are still here. They're still trying to do away with our Aboriginal rights and title, our connections to our lands, our connections to our culture and heritage, our connections to our values and beliefs. And they're going to keep doing that. It's only as a united approach we can decolonize ourselves by going back to who we were, who we are. I have a song here that I have brought back from the Sundance. This song was originally in Lakota. Then it was translated into Blackfoot. And then after my first 4 years sun dancing, I was given the rights to translate the songs into Daket. And that's what I am, Daket. And that's Cohot'en, Asli. The base of Chanashia and Jan Negonashia. Nehozke, Susi Hubugetan, Susi Hobadashe. It's not a whole shoot. Lots of the 10 now, it's a suits of tennis. So this is a prayer song that asks the Creator and the spirits that have gone before us to listen to our prayers and help us as we go along. Chief Leah Stump couldn't make it here today. She sends her regards and her prayers. Thank you.
We shared a little bit stories of what is going to be happening within the next year. I just want to say thank you to not least Chief Martin Louis for inviting us all here. And I also want to say that I come in as a representative for Chief John Allen French. He's sending his love and support to you all, because he was not able to come in today. So on behalf of Chief French, I just want to say that we have had our first gathering here on July 12th to the 15th with the Takla Lake First Nations coming onto the lands, as to where our 78 students have been sent from 1938 to 1976. And all our students were sent to this ground for each one of us to be going to school here. And I came here in 1958-59. And then I came back. I was a little girl then. We were picked up at Fort St. James and sent over here because there was no school in Takla. And then I came back again in 1965, 66, and then from here went to the Prince George College in 67, 68, 69 to 71. A number of us had various experiences being here, coming to this school. And there's a lot of unforgiveness as to what happened to many of us. But after we came together in July 12th to the 15th with our nation, came here the first 2 days, and our students, some of them that had made it here, were very physically abused at the time. But we came to the lands because this is where it all happened. So we went up to Mouse Mountain, all of us, and a number of us. We called it Walezduni, meaning letting go. And our members came here with the support of Chief Louis and the people here that had gathered with us. Our journey started in healing. A number of us took 3 flights, 9-seaters. Chief Martin came with us on the very first flight, going home, landing on the lands up in Takla, where we were met by all of our people, drumming, singing. The whole nation came together. It was very touching, because we re-experienced exactly what happened when we were flown here and when we were flown home. We come here 10 months at a time. We weren't able to go home Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. We stayed here. Our children stayed here with the Claston Nation, Yakuchi, Fort Ware, in Geneva. We were left here 10 months out at a time. And you know, all this is part of the scoop of the 60s as well, because we were forced to be here. And our families and our grandmothers, our parents, trusted these Catholics to let us come here to go to school, to let us learn. That's why we came here. But not to be physically abused and end up in those graves over there. That's not what our families sent us here for. Every time we hear the plane, every time I hear that train, all the emotions comes back to me. But after we came here in July, I have learned to let go. A number of us had walked away from the Catholic system. I myself walked away in 1973. I didn't want anything to do with the priests, the nuns, the Catholic. But I'm saying to my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, it is not God who did this to us. It is not God's will to have done what He did to us. It was the people that worked in this Catholic Church that had happened to us. And I'm telling my grandchildren that it is not God who has done any of these things to us. So don't lose faith in the Catholic system, don't lose faith in God, because it is not His will to do this to us. Right now, I just so happy to be here. And I've been like a very big part of the political since I was 16, 17 years old. I was a part of the 1969 group that went to Cheblak to fight the Constitution to help Aboriginal rights and title that is here today. And it was finally patriated in 1982 with all the chiefs across the world, all the chiefs and the First Nations across Canada British Columbia were the first to initiate any of these things. We as students, some of us, Bob, Sebastian was there, there's a number of us that made it down there, John. A number of us had gotten together to make it happen. So now that we thought the Constitution is brought back. So now all these things that have taken place today in recognition of what is happening today is caused by a number of us. I was a part of helping getting all the residential schools shut down by taking away all the funding, every funding that the Catholic school system and Indian Affairs had signed for the school to continue. We snuffed that out, and that is how we got rid of all the residential school. A number of us have played a big political portion to this. I am a daughter of William George Mitzagila. My dad was one that I had fought with many of you here. Many of you. It was mentioned earlier by a chief of all these people that you could remember and to continue to recognize. That they're the ones that paved the road for all of us to be here and to continue to be together. Together we stand. You know, all these orange shirts are going across Canada now. It's been recognized and it's been looked at. I'm so happy that these things are taking place and it's going to be done every year. It's not going to go away. We're not going to go away. We're going to continue to make it stronger each year. We're going to continue to stand more stronger with each other and to help one another heal. Our nations have gone a little further into getting our people to be like everyone's talking about, going into the streets, all our young people, but it's not going to happen anymore because we're going to stand by them to help each other. Because all of us today here are on the same journey, and we're needing to continue to help and support each other. I really look forward to coming back here next year, and I think it's going to be much, much more bigger. Anywhere we go, like all the nations are starting to do what they need to do to get together and welcome home their students. Welcome home their students like we did. Our nation welcomed us home and put us in the right place, into the right path of where we're going to go in the future. Because I ain't gonna see my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren go through anything that we have gone through. Break that cycle, break it now. I really enjoyed Robert for your talk. I went to school with Robert. I was there when we did the Friendship Center. We had a lot of fun in getting that together, and now it's one of the biggest friendship centers in Canada, and I'm very proud of it. Like, we stood together with many political. So we just really, really enjoyed, just all the things that we have done as young people. We look to young people these days, look at their visions, because the visions there was ours, and that's why we're here today, all of us.
Janet, I certainly love you. I was in Takla. Me and my brother Ron carved a large door there. I was the one who fell off the plane. I fell out of the plane in front of 300 people. So they know me in Takla. Janet, we always bonded together when we were in college. Every 3 months, some of us would get lonely and hold each other. Parents never wrote to us for whatever reason, but we made it, Janet, and we love you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It's such a pleasure, and it's really good to come back every now and then to just continue to heal our spirit.
Hare Kadane, Hare Dai, Netsahayatnan, Dedekuke, Cheblak. Hi everyone, our chief, our elders, our ladies, our gentlemen, our young ones. Nakustasin Yadusne, and I'll tell you just a little bit of my healing. tight. Takardis kwanda yaskat. The best ja in le sukak. Etasja. Seja. Tasji. Nesha hayat nan habudus kat. In 1975, I started my healing. I asked my elders, and Cowichan started me off on a healing journey. And when I came back, some of our elders said we did the same thing, and they're still doing it. They go in the water to get rid of anger. They hit the tree to get rid of the combustion anger. And I thought to myself, gee, if I do that, they might put me in jail. Because you don't see anybody hit the tree and shout like crazy. Eh? But that's what I did. And nakusliazes tashkatasya. Is tunasya. I go up in the mountains and I go in the water 4 times. Wet myself, get rid of that past residential school anger. And not only that, yaki tsebet icha satashchi. Alu yandabe su swanli. Mother Earth really look after me. Because I use water and rocks, tsebet, sweat lodge. I use water to heal myself. Honest, hantlete, nyaki kendal kandes chandube, sicha natatleyi. When I get too angry, instead of hurting somebody, I go out in the mountains and I use chandu, pine tree tobacco. I bless it. And I get 10 kendalkan, I get red willow, because that's medicine within itself. I get 4. Again, I use tobacco. Respect Mother Earth and the medicine I'm taking. I use that. And I walk around the tree and find out where that anger is coming from. Residential school. So I walk around and pretty soon tears start coming down. Then I start whipping the tree. Big long red willow. By the time I'm done, that red willow is less than 8 inch. Just small little one. Because I'm whipping that tree, getting rid of my anger. And coming down from the mountain, I feel like I'm walking on pillow. I get light within. And when somebody tried to get me angry, I said, how can I help you? How can we do it together? And that's how I do my healing. And walking on the street, I see some of the people, like I was, walking around the street, just when somebody say hi, hi. I wouldn't look them in the eye and say, but now it's easier to look them in the eye and say, Adi Shoinda, hi, are you doing okay? That's what I have our conversation after about healing within. And so that should be, Takas kana, chachi to be, wawadna, spa wawadna. The first time I started healing native way was hard for me. It was hard. A little bit scary because I never went through that before. But after I get used to it, like I don't do it just once and think I'm healing, walk around with my head up. I do it 4 times, and after 4 times, I keep doing that. Just make sure I get rid of the anger. I don't want to pack it around to hurt somebody. I don't want to pack it around to get my kids, put my kids down. And another thing, I love you. We don't say that. We don't say that at all. Not even to my wife when we got married. Do you love this woman? Take you some till death do you apart? I'm looking the other way and kissing her. So I'm not used to say I love you. Now that's easier for me to look in my child. And guess it? I teach them, guess it? And they tell me the same thing. And guess it, Grandpa? Makes my heart strong to move forward a little more. Makes tears in my heart to see my little grandchildren tell me, and guess it, Grandpa? You know, that's what I do now. Now I could honestly look into my wife's eyes, you know, and tell them, I love you. I don't go wash dishes here and tell them she's over there and tell them I love you. I make sure it's from my heart. I look into her eye, I love you. I just lie. No, that's true. That's what I do. And it's not easy to say that. The forgiveness. That's another thing. It's hard to get rid of forgiveness. How do you get rid of forgiveness? For me, forgiveness is when I did something to somebody 20, 30, 40 years ago. What I do, I come on, I'll take you home. This is no place for you. So I take them home. You can be still alive now. Now, and if somebody I don't like, boy, again, I go over there, let's go have some coffee, or let's go have something to eat. And we get together, and now we're just like this. We're really close. Anybody I see, you know. But once in a while, I keep forgetting myself, walking on the street thinking, and I look at a friend of mine saying, oh, you must be from residential school. Why? You got your head down. Oh, I was just thinking what I'm going to do next to help my friend. That's all I do. Okay? Yeah, and if there's any questions of just come and see me, and hey, I do my best to help you. Like I got this one person I helped since he was a little boy. He's older than me. I helped the person. I tell him, you just don't do it this once and think you're healed. You have to do it 4 times and keep going to keep that energy loose. Don't hang on to it, otherwise you get angry. Things come out to hurt somebody. So this is why I do it more than 4 times. Even now, 3 days ago, my wife asked me, let's go for a ride. Where? Up the mountain. Okay. Well, rushing around like I was going to bingo. When we got up there, well, I tell you, all the stuff I was thinking about, this, doing that, all left my mind. Everything was up there and I left it behind. And when I go up the mountain to shout to get rid of my anger. And sometimes I sing. One song I'll sing, Neto kana, Boston kana si Nedusni. I'll sing it in a white way. When I'm up there by myself, walking around, I'm going to shout out this song. Come to me, baby, I'm your one-woman man. No, I would say.
Thank you, Roy. Guest speaker. Next speaker on the guest list is Rita George from Wet'suwet'en First Nation. Rita. Rita Gyos is the way the elders used to say it. Eh? Gyos. There you go, Rita.
Thank you. Happy everybody. Such a beautiful day to be here. and I couldn't miss it for anything. I'd like to introduce my daughter, Corinne.
Denise, zakte skaise, sai swazi Corinne, spep disnet bis belachna, sebesa, team tabi hunzu. And also, my mother's granddaughter, Alicia, is also joining us today. And it's such a great honor for Alicia to stand with her grandmother today, as her grandmother, Rita, came to school at Lejac Residential School.
I was honored when they asked me if I can come to Lejac and share the experience. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about Lejac here. I was in 1945 and 1920, my older sister, Emily, Augusta, Mabel, George, and the rest of my aunties came to Lejac in 1920s. They were the first one. And then they were gone for so long. So the next group was my mother, my grandmother. I never knew her because she died in 1939 when I was born. And she took 6 of the children up in the mountain so they don't have to come to Lejac School. Every day they were telling us that she took all the 6 children up in the mountain because they didn't want to let them to go to Lejac School because of the experience in 1920s. And then in 1945 to 47, my older sister Sophie, myself, and my youngest sister Doreen May, who also passed away during the time we were in Lejac. That's when I first came here in 1949. And I guess all people, all the students that were here did a lot of crying. And we did a lot of training, like making bread and cooking and baking, doing everything. That was one wonderful thing that we did, because I never stopped baking for my family today, what I've learned in Lejac, sewing and mending. And I did that for all my children when they were small. I made their clothes. And then my sister, Sophie, and she held Doreen May in her arms. They were sitting there all day weeping. They would not stop crying, both of them. They continued on. And for about a month, all of a sudden they were gone. I didn't know where they went. We were never told when they took somebody back home. And Sophie was taken home because all she did was crying. And I had 2 little nephews. They got sick. They ended up in a hospital in Vanderhoof. But then they came home too, back to Burns Lake. But they gradually all passed on. I just want to say that what a pretty tough year this year. We lost so many. My sister Sophie and then Violet, they just went one after another. And that's really hard grief that I had to go through. I'm kind of alone now. And it's just a big memory that they left behind. And Sophie's children and grandchildren, they're the one that I look up to now. The good part of the Lejac I can ever remember was we always had to do learning how to sew. They taught us everything. And going for a walk on Saturday or Sundays up the road towards Fort Fraser or Fraser Lake. Everybody was marching side by side. And some people thought that was a pretty tough thing to do, but that's the way it was. And one of the things is, I never ever forgot my church. Never. Never. I had so many loss. Sophie, Violet, just one after another. I had 4 losses, 5 losses within 4 months. But the prayer is the one that's keeping me going, praying for them. I just want to talk about that. Prayer, when you say prayer, it gives you a great lift, gives you a great relaxation. And I keep praying, that's all I can do. And we were taken by Father Mulvihill, was the first one I met when we came to Lejac. And I witnessed a lot of things. We went through lots, but that was the role that we had to do. That's all I wanted to share today. And the first one I saw was my uncle, Peter Lukey. Late Peter Lukey was the one that was carpenter when we were marching to the dining room, and all of a sudden I saw Peter Lukey across from us. I was so happy to see him. He was one of the person, because Peter Lukey's wife, Marianne, was my dad's niece. And every summer we go back to where Marianne was raised, and we have our picnic up there.
Where are you going to start?
Always. We pick berries up there too. That's all I wanted to share, and it's a beautiful day. I enjoyed everything that went on. And it reminds me of, I've witnessed so many people here that some of them were in Lejac with us. And it was great to see them. Have a very good day, each and every one of you. And I love all of you. Thank you. Masahika.
This place did some serious damage to us. And I'm wondering if the damage was so bad that we cannot literally help one another. I don't know quite where to go from that thought, but I've read books about various things. Some of the more imponderables, one is the idea of a social contract. That any entity that exists in a given society has to have some social contract. It is a belief from the membership that whatever it is that exists in your society is real and that it is there for a reason, that it's valid. And we don't, that idea of a social contract does not exist in our society. And this idea of Lejac, now Tse Yaz Bunk'ut, I like the transition, little rocky lake, as opposed to Lejac, which was, it's a jarring concept in my mind, because it reminds me of, probably 10 years of starvation. During the summer, I ate a lot, but during that winter, it was day after day after day of literally having no food. Yet, during the day, I would help gather eggs and milk cows and slop pigs, but none of that went to me. So the result of all of that is, a lifetime of eating disorder. So who gave the social contract to that? And the end result, after all said and done, is that destruction that happened to each of us. How is it going to be mended? How are we going to prevent that destruction from going into the next generation and the one after that? And believe you me, it's there. We are totally overrepresented in the jails of this country. Our children are still being apprehended in great, great numbers. That's the result of this place. And this is the final thing I want to say. Who is going to address that? Let me tell you just one little story in that clicked with me when the Pope came to visit. He kept realizing from the 3 days he was here how awful this whole thing was. Till finally, he was on a plane back home when he finally admitted, yeah, it was genocide. But one of the very last things he said was to the Inuit. He said to the children, soar. Realize your fullest potential. What mother, what father does not say that to their children? Our children that are benefiting, or whatever that term is, it's the drop down of the evil that happened here. we have to prevent. We have to prevent. You and I. So let us tell our children, in the words the Pope said, soar. Regardless of what happened here, let's let our children soar.
I spent about 10 years in residential school, 9 in St. Joseph's Mission, 1 year in Lejac, because I was bullied so much in residential school in Williams Lake, so I thought this would be a better place. So this is where I ended up in. The reason why I was so bullied was because I didn't want to be a slave to a bully. There was no way that I was going to be a slave to anybody. So I was bullied year on year because of that. This one student asked me to wash her underwear, 5 big underwear, and I won't do it. I brought it back to her bed and told her, do your own panties. I told her. So that's why she was bullying me all these years. To get into my healing, I don't really want to talk about that. But I went through a lot of bullies. And to get into my healing, my healing things, I would like to thank Leah Patrick for showing me. He showed me that, like for my bones, I don't have a sore bone in my body. I'm 74, because what she showed me. She showed me that, that you can get rid of your arthritis with this medicine. And I was 19 at the time. I said, Mom, I don't have no sore bones. I said that in my mind. So she showed me this medicine. But I didn't listen to her until my legs and everything my toes starting to grow together. That was arthritis setting in. I says, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I like picking berries. I like being in the bush. What am I going to do? All of a sudden, Leah came back to my mind. And what she told me, what to use. So that's what I was doing. Right that same day, I went and got the medicine, what she told me, and I started using it. And then the thing I forgot was, he told me when I'm using this medicine that I have to drink a lot of water. That's what she told me to do. But I forgot that part. All I knew is that medicine. So that's a cottonwood tree branches, and that's what I use. And the only thing you can use out of that cottonwood is to drink is the butts of the cottonwood. Every spring we go out, bunch of ladies in the community, we go out and pick those cottonwood butts, and we put them in olive oil and let it set, and you drink that. I think that saved us from COVID too. We got COVID, but beginning of the COVID season, we all got it. All my husband and me and the rest of the family in the house. We had COVID, but it was gone just by drinking that medicine, cottonwood butts. So I didn't believe Leah until about 20, 30 years later, until I started having pain. So I was on so many pills, you wouldn't even believe how many pills I was on. I was on pills to sleep, to eat, to every kind of pill you could imagine, I was popping. I was at doctor's office every week or so, because I was on popping so much pills. And then my doctor told me, you know, if you come back one more time, I'm going to send you to Essendale. That's what he told me. So I says, okay, I won't go back. So I go to Williamsburg to get more pills. That's how bad I was on pills. But I don't take any pills anymore. Not even. I don't even have a headache. I don't have that anymore, because I'm using the trees what God left for us on this earth. He knows what kind of sickness we're going to have. He knows that. So he left every kind of medicine that it's in those trees and in the plants and in the ground. That's what he left for us, because he loved us so much.
Did you get one, Johnny?
Even when I start having a bath in my cottonwood, I wanted my husband to join me in taking that bath too. And he says, no, I'm okay. Keeps saying that, and I know he's suffering. So I told him, no, if you don't start having a bath, and you can't walk anymore, I'm going to put you in old man home, I told him. This is what I told him. And he started having a bath. And he's still walking now, 76. Doesn't want to end up in old man home, I guess. Oh, and after that, when I was on those pills, I got really sick. I was 87 pounds. That's my weight. I was so sick. And I knew that at that time that I didn't have no appetite. I didn't have no reason to live. So he brought me to the bush, and he cut a hole it was winter time. He cut a hole in the ice, and he told me to jump in there. And I was crying. He says, crying's not going to help. Water's going to help you. So that's what he did. I could barely walk, but I crawled out of that ice pretty damn fast. I tell you, my knees were all scraped up when I got out of that water. We did that about 4 times. And from there, I still didn't feel very good. So we went to Montana, and I did Sundance for 4 years. And I seen a lot of miracles there, so that's where my miracle came in. To be healthy again. So I'd like to thank the Creator for leaving us all the plants and everything that He has provided for us. And I'd like to thank Eleanor for being stubborn, for me to be up here. Thank you, Eleanor.
You're welcome.
Yvonne George, Peter Luke Jr., Dennis Patrick, Diane Fulton, Charlene Smith, Edward Dennis, Michael Thomas, Bruce, Norman, weren't you part of it? No? You must have practiced at least. Yeah, I think, well, I did too, but they didn't allow me to be in the marching band because while those folks are coming up. So I practiced in the marching band. You could all come up here on the stage here and introduce yourself, and I'll just tell them a little story while you're doing that. So in the Lejac marching band, I did all the things that you're supposed to do in a marching band. Practice my instrument, marched, etc. But there's one thing that I refuse to do, and that is to cut my hair. So I did not want to cut my hair, and I held out. I thought, screw it. The ladies have long hair. Why couldn't I have long hair? So the reason that you don't see me in any pictures in the marching bands in the 70s is because I refused to cut my long hair, and that's just me. I think Norman did the same thing. Well, you should come on up here, Norman. You're part of the whole marching band anyway, even though you didn't get any pictures and suit up like the former students here. Anyhow, I'll give the students time to introduce themselves and maybe tell a story if they have a story or two. So you'll start with Yvonne.
Danesa, Zekeza, Skeza, male chiefs, female chiefs, children of chiefs. I went to the Lejac School for 7 years, and during those 7 years, I had bad experiences, good experiences. I met a lot of students from Pache, Takla, Ukuche, Angelika, Morristown, Burns Lake. We're part of the first girls marching band, and when they announced they wanted to have a marching band, I signed up for it, and I worked really hard. I played the glockenspiel, and it's like an instrument that you have to hold in your left hand, and they said you can't look at it, so you had to memorize all this thing, and you use this thing to make noise, and it was pretty good, pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it was hard to not look at your instrument. And Brother McCormick would drill it in our heads and said, "You can't look at it. You have to look ahead, because you have to see where you're walking. You have to see who's beside you." And we had to be in a straight line in front of us and to the side. And the routines we practiced every day after school. And it was on this building where the parking lot is on this side here. And we would practice for probably an hour. I can't remember. Some things I just blocked out of my mind about the Lejac School. But it was fun. The first time I stayed at Lejac School in the junior dorm, I remember that night I stayed there, and I was trying to sleep, and I would be listening to little girls crying because they really missed their family. And we had to wear their clothes they gave us. We had to use the uniform. First we had was black and white shoes. I wasn't too keen. I wasn't too proud of those shoes anyways. We wore it for a while, and then we changed to the white boots, long boots that went below your knee. And we would wear a red vest and a white skirt or a white dress. And we would perform in Prince George on May Day weekends. We'd be marching down Victoria Street, go to Smithers. We went to St. Mary's in Mission, perform against other marching bands. It was fun. We met a lot of other students from other Indian residential schools. And the last year, I remember going to Spokane, Washington for the World's Fair. And Diane was just talking about the photographs that someone shared when we were performing in Spokane, Washington. And be able to travel, because that's the only time we traveled, was when we were with the marching band. Because my family was poor, we didn't go very far. And I don't know, it's, I'll always remember being part of Lejac School. I never talked very much to my kids about it. Just as my mom and dad probably didn't, like, you know, we lost our language, we lost our culture, but here we are, we're still here, and today we remember all the survivors, and I just see orange on Facebook, and I just see orange in front of me. And I just remember all the good times that we had with the marching band. That's it. Awetsa.
Hi, my name is Diane Fulton. I live in Prince George, but I'm originally Stilacan. The memories that I shared some pictures of myself and Charlene Schmidt and Colleen George, Yvonne George, where I played the glockenspiel like all the ladies did. And I remember going to Terrace, and the lady commented on my photo saying that she thought that Lejac School Band was it, and that we were celebrities, and that she remembered seeing us in Terrace. And the only thing I remember about Terrace, it was raining, and I lost one of my shoes in the mud. That's the only thing I remember about Terrace. But I remember also being a privileged guest, which is what I was called when we stayed at Lejac overnight before our trips. I remember going to Spokane, and I actually remember seeing an article from my brother who shared about the local newspaper commenting about our formation and stuff, but that's all I remember.
I'm Charlene Schmidt from Scookoh. Funny, I don't remember much of our band trips. Yeah. We used to play that glockenspiel. You can't look at it. The only thing I remember was going to Seattle, the big tower way up there. Yeah, Space Needle. Yeah, I don't remember much of that. I used to like doing the practicing. That's about it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Lugie. I'm from Stilacan First Nation. I've been to the Lejac School here, and we were day students. We were bused here every day. Started here, I believe, in 1964, so I was here 8 years. Kind of break it down between two sections for you, just try to get through it as quick as possible. But from grade 1 to grade 4 wasn't very good years, because a lot of the residential schools hated us from Scookoh because we were bused back and forth, and we pretty well got in a fight every day with them. Students from here, they didn't like us at all. But from grade 4 to grade 7, the one time we had an incident just at the playground here where 3 of our band members got in a fight with one big student, and I remember watching them. And 2 of the students are no longer with us here now. And 1 is still alive today, but they got in a fight. The guy wanted to take 3 of them on. So I watched them, and the guy beat up the 2 big students that were here from Scookoh. And the third guy, the guy wanted to come and start fighting with him, but one of our guys from Scookoh had a pocket knife in the back, and he just zipped it right by his nose here. So that was a changing point in how some of the nuns, some of the priests, some of the administrators, students kind of took a view as how they looked at stiletto infestation students and how they treated us. They bullied us, and that really opened their eyes up. So they had an assembly in a playroom for both boys and girls and said that if we ever catch you fighting, bullying, stiletto infestation students, that you will get strapped. So that was a turning point in the time I was here, where some of the administrators, nuns, priests started looking and viewing stiletto as a different point. And they started asking us to play sports, play hockey, because we were accused of being chicken shits, not wanting to play hockey. And the same thing with the band too. So that's where, at that point in time, after that incident, the whole thing sort of changed. They started treating us a little better, and they asked us if we could join the band. So that's a starting point in my time when I was here, when they started asking us if we could play the band. So I played the trumpet when we were in Lejac School, and so the first 4 years was not the greatest, but from grade 4 to grade 7, I would say those were really good years for me here. We got along with the students that used to fight us at one time. They became our friends. So that's kind of the history there. And I've still got some pictures right by the blue tent there. And I've got pictures that brochures and everything that I saved from our tour in 1971. They call it the all-native musical tattoo, and we toured from Prince George, Williams Lake, Kelowna, Vernon, Maple Ridge, Kamloops, Vancouver, Victoria, Nanaimo, where else? Duncan, I believe, and our last point was Fall River. So that was the tour of 71. And those pictures are there, and the brochures are there. And it also shows the competing bands that we competed against from down south. Mission, Drum Bugle Corps, and Kamloops band. And the Kamloops band were an all-native girls band. And at that time, I was pretty young yet, and I still thought those girls were very beautiful. And they were. And they used to always seem to crowd around our Lejac boys band. And also the tour, when we went through the tour, before the tour started, like Yvonne was saying, we did a lot of practicing after hours, and on weekends we'd come back here and practice and march up and down to where the highway is, and right along here and do our marching and our performance for what we had to do. Like some of you have probably seen some of the RCMP musical band, and when you see the horses going in their rotation, that's called the big wheel and the little wheel, and we used to do that. And we were in our marching band with the strips and everything on, our white pants and red shirt or red top. And throughout our tour in BC, we were #1. So we were ranked, and we were known for being a precision marching band. So those pictures are there, and I've got that picture of the tour of 71. And this following year, in 1972, we went to the musical tattoo in Prince Rupert. And I've also got that pictures there, and also a shadow box of our uniform is there as well. So if you wanna, when you're heading out there, you can see that. So it was a good experience. Well, like a lot of the stuff that Brother McCormick had taught us really disciplined us, and we when we did our tours and stuff like that throughout down south, it was I would say the best parts of my life here in the Lejac School. I remember when we were coming, say, into a portion of the arena, we were the first band to do that. And we sang "O Canada" for them and everything. And they'd have the lights closed, so it was almost like a kind of a Hollywood scenario type thing where they had these big spotlights all around us. And they would shut the lights off. We'd march in the middle of the arena, and we'd do our various different songs and stuff like that. And as soon as we'd finish our songs, we'd stand at attention just like this, and the whole audience would be standing up and just giving us a standing ovation. And I can still, to this day, when I think about it, I can still feel shivers running down my spine. So it was quite an experience, and the memories are there, and those were the good positive memories about this Lejac School. So thank you very much for your time.
Howdy, my name is Bruce Allen. I come from Scookoh too. Unlike Peter, I don't remember any groupies. Yeah, I do remember doing the training here. They got us to march on the hockey rinks, freshly flooded ice, and they get us to practice marching on the ice with those dress shoes on, and so we got pretty good. We didn't slip around after a while because otherwise they'd probably start strapping us or something. But Jerry Donovan was one of the directors, Carl Dixon. Those are the ones that I can remember, Father LaPlante, people like that. But they talked about the tours to Terrace. Yeah, we did go to Prince George, Fort St. James, Fort Fraser Lake. And then we went to Spokane, Washington. And I can remember the standing ovations that we got in front of the Americans at the World's Fair in 1974. And I was wondering why they were giving us standing ovations. And we were playing music like Elvis's song and "O Canada." But there were some marching band songs that were played by the band, and we didn't know the history behind it. And one of the songs was one of the songs that General Custer used when he went into the villages in the United States to slaughter the women and children. And we played that song in front of that American audience. And the news article that I shared with Diane was about our marching band, how they talked about the standing ovations, and they talked about how regimented and well disciplined we were. And when they came to that song, they said Chief Joseph and Sitting Bull were probably turning over in their graves. And I thought about that when I got that news article years later, and then I thought back, and what song would that be? And it's mentioned which song he plays, and that's the song that they made us learn to play in the States, which is really kind of ironic. But outside of that, all the boys looked the same. We all had sharp haircuts, and we all looked the same. I can't remember if it was me or one of the other guys, but we were all standing around waiting to get on the bus to go to the arena to go perform, and checked out the fire alarm. Oh, what's this? So the fire truck showed up, and these other non-Indigenous kids were standing around, and the firemen were asking him who pulled the fire alarm. And he's looking around, and we all looked the same to him because we all had short haircuts. And I don't know, they all looked the same. I can't tell. One of those boys pulled it. So I remember that standing out. But we went to Seattle. It's a bigger city than Vancouver. Coming from here, we've never been to the city, so that was in that sense we got to see the world. Spokane, Washington. We got to go to Seattle. The Space Needle was mentioned, and then we went up to Vancouver, and so that was our first time going to Vancouver, and we stayed at the St. Mary's Mission near Vancouver. They wouldn't put us up in hotels, but we stayed at other residential schools. But yeah, I do remember the discipline that they put on us, and I talked to other survivors who went through that, and they left here in 1974, 1975, and they would go back home, and they would, it's like they got out of prison. They didn't know any other way. They would be marching up and down their road, just as they were practicing in the marching band. So that was kind of sad to hear that, other people who were in the marching band, that was the only good memory they would have of the school. How it's that? Thank you for listening.
Ari, Neza, Tse Skiza, Honesty Hosahtil, Sluinle, Azilen Patrick, Spinle, Victor Lessert. It seems like I've never actually left these grounds since I was a child. From the time that we left school in summer program, Patrick and I were the summer kid that worked here. And Patrick was constantly late. And Peter Sr. sat him down and gave him supreme hell. So you start work at 8 o'clock, you show up on time. You respect your work, you respect your effort at work, and at the end of the day, you do a good job. So that was the first lesson I learned of employment. And Pete Sr. said, if you buy something, you buy the best. It costs a little bit more, but you have a valuable equipment of your toolkit. Since then, we've had the pilgrimage. I've been involved in pilgrimage since the beginning. And that event is recognizing one of our members, a historic member, Rose Prince. There's a history behind that, but I'm not going to get into that right now. The places that were not mentioned, we went to Smithers. And every year, for some reason, we always screwed up. We missed a line or we missed something. And probably the 5-hour trip that got us up there, I'm not sure, but every year we screwed up. Some of the things that they're talking about when you go to a standing ovation and the spotlight is on you, you have goosebumps. There's no one else in the world that can experience it except you that is standing there in the line of people. That moment of recognition that we're no longer children, that we're no longer subjects of the crown, that we're acknowledged by the public as human beings, and that standing ovation gave it some credence. When we go home after the system is over, that is out the window. The way we're treated at school is the same thing that happens right now in this day and age. It's still going on. We have the principal, the nuns, and the administrators, and the public as you're the students. And this is probably about the 5th time I've been here from family service and all the events that's happened here. Is that when we go home from here, what are you learning? What are you bringing home that says, this is I am a human being, I will respect you and enjoy your life Where are we treating each other with civil discussion, civil talk? We live in a gossip universe. We live in putting people down. We live in a place that is not equal. And that's something, you know, it saddens me because as adults, we act like children. We demand stuff, we expect stuff, and for the life of me, I don't know where that expectation is coming from. But everything I've done in my life, my mom had to work from the time I've known her till she died. From morning till night, she's all preparing food, preparing clothes, dishes, laundry, and going for food, picking salmon, berries. Those things that our children have forgotten. Picking roots. And the trail that's grown over from the corner where the playground meets the graveyard is Tse Yaz Bunk'ut. I walked that as a child all the way up to Red Rock on the other side. Those trails have grown over to the extent that we don't walk them on them anymore. It's these people here have to realize that once we get back on the trail, we also have to remember our language. Nadleh Whut'en. We become so assimilated that we discuss our issues in English. We discuss our thoughts in English. And some of the efforts that we've done is we've created a language app in both Android and OSI, which is active now. We've also worked with Nick Prince and currently Guy Prince in writing the syllabic chart. So we're working on content that's yet to be published, and hopefully in this coming year that we'll have enough work for people to start learning from, start gravitating towards. The experience I had in the 70s at the residential school was probably the best years of my life. And traveling as a 12-year-old, going from here to Smithers, to Prince George, to Vancouver. That was not possible, even thinkable back then, because of the poor quality that the reserves had of employment, of living from hand to mouth. I can tell you right now, a lot of people are still living from hand to mouth. While we have a lot of non-natives making a ton of money on our backs, we have a lot of people enjoying the wealth and richness of our environment. And although some of us have made it in the real world, there's still a lot of people that have yet to find their way to prosperity, find their way to being accepted as human beings, find their way that they have quality in this world and in this universe, that these kids never had to enjoy the benefits of being called Stinka Stella or Dirty Stella. And those things you never forget, ever. And as far as forgiving, there's some people I doubt very much I'll ever forgive for the treatment, for the resentment of who we were as Stella then. For the people that were back then made every effort in their power to act on our behalf, and they're all gone. And that's something as adults, is that you should stand up for your fellow human being, no matter who they are. And being here, I think I'm going to end it here because it's really sad that we have to come to a place to recognize who we are as human beings and recognize each other as individuals. Awidza. Sinacharya.
I just got a little footnote I forgot to mention to you is this loom necklace I have here was made by the girls back in the 70s that they used to do a lot of beating and raise monies for the fundraisings when we were on our Lejac school tour. So this is one of the original ones that I have around my neck. And another footnote I wanted to make is that from grade 1 to 4 that I mentioned to you, when they used to call us Stinky Stellas, that stuck with me all my life. And when I started working with Scookoh First Nation in 1985, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to turn this negative thinking of Stinky Stellas into a positive one. So I did that for over 30 years now, and the landscaping that you see in Scookoh, the beautification in Scookoh, was as a result of what they used to call us here in Lejac. So that's the end result of the way I dealt with my negative feelings, and over time period turned it into a positive experience. So as Paul Harvey would say, now you know the rest of the story. Thank you.
Peter, and one more note here. I was trying to convince Norman to come up here because he did participate in the band activity, so he agreed to come up, and here you are, Norman. Thank you for coming up here.
I always wondered why we didn't make it, because we had the long hair. I got a lot of gory stories. I got off the jack. Been through a lot, been through hell. And anything that would break a person, kill the spirit, kill the Indian in us. I went through it. And my sisters didn't even hear my story. It's not I've been sober for 35 years. I was charged for attempted murder 32 years ago. I know, and I apologize. So one of my friends David is a best friend of mine. Long time ago, when we were kids, we grew our hair. We were little wild Indians in the bush. I ran around naked when I was a little kid, because that's purity. But it was taken away when I went in here. And I got a lot of gory stories. I'm telling you because I'm healing. I healed. I'm not fully healed. Thank God that I'm not. Everything I went through, it could have led me to become a pedophile or murderer. Anything. I mean, I had the urge when I was 13 years old to hurt little kids because that's what they done to me. It's by the grace of God that I didn't do anything. I didn't carry out that urge to hurt little kids. Because when I was here, I used to numb myself at the white gates over there. Coming to school and routine. The supervisors to come and call I used to us and take us in. To gratify themselves. It's not God that they're not, it's weakness of flesh. I forgave them a long time ago. I was facing 7 years automatic, attempted murder, mass murder. I was loaded up with rifles, bullets. That I was snorting cokes, shooting up, whatever. I can't blame it on that. It's the hurt that I carried.
Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew the dark side. We all have a dark side. We have to make that willingness to open up slowly if we want to heal. I turned to drugs, I turned to alcohol, I turned to anything that can numb Norman. Didn't work. I got drunk, I got super drunk. Peter and I done a lot of drugs together. It's amazing we're still walking around. I got a lot of party stories of us getting snorting and shooting and talking and all this. We thought we were walking, we were crawling to the liquor store on our hands and our feet, from what I heard. But I want to tell the gory stories because it's all high and mighty that we learned a lot. I don't know if I learned a lot. I learned to work hard. I learned discipline. I learned how to not to quit, to believe something out there. And I can talk all night. Anybody that are hurting from your residues of the Lejac School, the residential school, I'm available. I don't want to get paid for it, but I want to save your life. Because I went through it. I went to the grind. Even Cousin Bruce doesn't know what I went through. I acted like a normal person. Little kid, we love to go fishing, Swift River. We catch catfish, or I think it's catfishing, at Malcolm's Bridge. That's what I program in here. I fantasize about becoming the best fisherman. I fishing and all this. You know, I had the urge to come here and say, I gotta tell my story because people are still hurting out there. Look at all our streets. They're still filled with our brothers and sisters, numbing the pain. I have two beautiful daughters here. I told them my story, some of it, because I went in the front lines for them. My son, my grandkids, I went in the front line for them. Just like our Uncle Tony, he went in the front line for us, so we can have a better life, and we don't have to go through what I went through. I went through for their well-being. Yes, there is still bullies out there. I got the shit kicked out of me so many times. Got thrown against the walls, got kicked. Everything. You know, one thing that hurts me is the people that used to bully me are now senior citizens. And I was watching them a couple of years ago, and people were catering to them. Oh, you want this, you want this, you want this. And then I was sitting there like this. Oh, man. I said, no, Norman, that's not worth it. It's not worth the pain. It's not worth nothing. They're going to feel it one day. They're going to come. The light is going to shine. It's going to open up. Truth will be revealed. You know, it takes a lot of courage for all my members here to stand up here. Because I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm not scared. I'm shaking a leaf because I'm talking the truth. I'm saying what the place done to me. We used to get straps, 40 in a hand at a time. 40 in a hand. If our palms are bruised, we switch over on this side. There used to be 4 of us. I just always run away from school here. 2 of them are passed away, and I think 2 are still alive. And they used to catch us at Robertson's Beach there in a big blue panel. Throw us in the place. And they belittle us. They come into the playrooms about size of maybe a little bigger than this. And they get all the junior boys sitting there. And they tell us, this is what happens to you if you try to leave these grounds. And they tell us, if you go like this, you get 1 extra one.
So we used to have swollen up blue hands. The blue hand syndrome, they call it. It may fill me up with a lot of harsh hatred, rage, numbness. You know, I used to wrestle cops around in Fraser Lake, Van Burns. They used to break my arm. Tell them, go ahead, break it. Yeah, I can't feel it. They used to shackle me up like a dog. And I'm not proud about this. It's my story to give someone out here courage so we don't end up in that place over there. That place is cold. There's a lot of hurt souls. I never had a chance that I got to tell my story. You know, our mom raised about 14 of us, I think. 4 of them passed on. And she was the old Catholic system thinking. She brought us to church every Sunday, lined us all up in the back pew, and we sat there. But we were kids. We play, we bite on the church pews, on the windows, and anything that we can, our little fingers can get. But I'm just saying that I got a lot of stories of what really happened here. And I watch all those videos of once children, and we were once children, and Iron Horse or Indian Horse. Before, that used to affect me because I didn't talk with it. I didn't let it out. I believe some of Roy's stories about healing. I heal myself my way. Like my late brother Leonard Ward used to always tell us, pray in your own way, he says. It sticks in my heart. I pray in my own way. I pray just straight up with my heart. Sometimes it gets so bad I gotta drop on my knees. Drop on my knees and pray. If it wasn't for that, I would have been probably a pile of dirt over there 35 years ago. Probably I got shot by the cops, got murdered by somebody, committed suicide. I tried that so many times when I used to drink. I used to wake up with a 303 under my chin, on my chest. Come to bullet's still in there, but I didn't pull the trigger. There's so much stuff that I went through. I mean, I forgive that place. I forgive the woman that used to abuse me too. There used to be about 5 of them that used to always, I used to be panic, yes. They used to go like this, they all gather around like this. And they cover me, and they make me do stuff to them. And they do stuff to me. And that was one of them, but the supervisors too done that to me. I used to panic in showers. When water hits me, I panic. When someone goes like this, I used to panic. Sweat lodges, I used to go in there and I used to scream like a little kid. Because they used to close us in. I don't go sweat lodges anymore. I don't believe it. I respect people that use us their smudge and their sweetgrass. I don't do that anymore. I don't need that in my life anymore. I just talk to the God, Creator, whoever you want to call him. Whoever you feel comfortable calling him. It's a straight talk. I got a lot of experience with sweetgrass and all that, but I choose not to talk about it. It made me a person sober, going into AA for 28 years, healing, trauma. I done trauma in Dawson Creek Healing Center and Prince George about 4 times, and letting all this hurt all the abuse, all the sexual abuse, all the physical, all the belittling, all the killing the spirits and everything. One thing that they used to do when we had our long hair, they told me, "Hey, Norm," and they looked at me like this, and they said, "You're a girl." I said, "How come?" He says, "Because you had long hair. I'm going to get you a dress." They belittled us. And they said, "You own that long hair. We're going to put you in the junior girls side." And I didn't understand. How can a little 8 or 9-year-old boy understand that? And then they sent the other supervisor over to the girls' side to get a dress, a little blue dress. Again, they called the little junior kids down. And they belittled me again, and they tried to kill me as much as they can, my spirit. And they said to put that dress on and go to the next side, we're going to walk you over. So they did. They had that strap ready if I didn't disagree. But they put that dress on me and they walked to the girls' side. And in my head, am I a girl or am I a boy? Because I had long hair. And then they kept telling me that. They said, "Do you want to be a girl or do you want to be a boy?" I said, "I want to be a boy." So they grabbed me again. They grabbed my arm and they practically lifted and dragging me in. They called those junior boys down. They had a chair where they cut the boys their hair, a stool, and they slammed me there. And the clippers. I think that's where they just about killed me, killed my spirit. And then they said, "Now you're a boy. You can stay here." And this is one of my daughters. Her and I fought a big battle in the past 3 years. She's a miracle. For 5 years, I think 5 or 3 or 4 years, she's been fighting her life. Same with myself. She fought her life for a new kidney. Her 2 kidneys are gone, 7% left. And I've pleaded and I've pleaded. On the last, I call it the last day, she called us and she was crying. I thought something happened. I thought they said no more for her life. She said, "Dad, I got a kidney." Thank you, God. And now I'm fighting for my life.